I've got buddies at Elliott, I've got buddies at Egan, I've got guys at Hunt, all guys that I graduated with. Some small shops along the way too, and you know, I'd have to say by far, you know, for what I do and for what I've done compared to some of the other guys is been unparalleled as far as experience. So um, that's pretty much all I got.
Hi, my name is Jeff Marco. I am one of the owners at Muska Electric. We've got probably about 7 principal owners of the company um, that own it primarily through privately held stock. Every employee at Muska Electric is an owner through the ESOP. We have, as Ted mentioned, we have a profit sharing, and we have, we have our salaries. Then we have bonuses, and bonuses are paid directly off performance. Um, it is possible to understand how the bonus situation works just from your performance. Um, we have the ESOP, we have the profit sharing. Um, Muska started in 1919 by Tony Muska. He started converting gas lights to electric lights, street lights. His son jumped in with him, Bill jumped in with him, and they turned it into a residential commercial um, and then retail kind of a setup, and started moving to industrial. And then back in about 1978, Bill Muska, who was the second owner after Tony, um, was ready to retire out, but none of his kids wanted to, had any interest in following through in the company. So the first tier of non-family owners started, and that's the gentleman of that tier. There's one person left who's the president of the company right now, and myself, I'm in that second non-family tier of ownership. So we're the fourth generation of the company. So we've made it through the first couple, which is, if you guys know your curves of a company, is after second generation is where it gets dangerous, that second to third generation period. So we've gotten through that. We've been around. I've been at Muska for 25 years now. I was at Hoffman Electric for 8 years before that, and probably none of you have ever heard of Hoffman Electric. They went away about 25 years ago. I left there just before that company went away. Um, but Muska's been around a long time. We're not a Hunter Parsons in terms of size or Egan. We have no desire to compete with those guys as they're structured. Um, we're very much kind of a small town feel. As Ted mentioned, we bring in people. We'll give you direction. We will help to teach and train. But we are definitely looking for people who are self-motivated and want to aspire, on their own. That is rewarding. Um, you can go anywhere from being an owner through ESOP to potentially. Well, let me back up just a second. We're initially looking for somebody that can do CAD. Now we don't have Rivet. We're not there yet. But we want somebody to do CAD. We're looking for somebody to do some estimating, and then in a process of probably a couple year period of time, moving through somebody, if interested. Somebody who might be interested in moving up into a project management position. What I don't have personal experience, but I know because Ted can speak to this. Ted likes estimating. He doesn't desire to be a project manager. He doesn't want some of the hassles associated with project management. So, and Ted's an awesome estimator, so we're really happy that Ted wants to stay estimating, because we need good estimators too. You can't function without either. Um, we do have a bit of a crossover, so our project managers still typically do some estimating of their own because the estimating department can't carry it all. But it's worked really well for us, and we are looking for somebody to start in that project, in that estimating and CAD position, with the potential of moving into the project management position, and it'll be based on performance and desire. If somebody has the ability and we see the ability, we're going to want to promote them. It is a long-term company, like Ted mentioned. We don't typically, a lot of people who start at Muska retire from Muska, including our electricians. We have a lot of electricians who came out of apprenticeship, started at Muska, and retired from Muska. We pride ourselves on long-term relationships with our employees, as well as our customers. That's kind of one of our claims to fame. Again, we're not a Hunter Parsons. You know, we're a probably in today's market, we're a 30 million to 40 million dollar a year company. Um, that's what we are. We really like it. We do well with it. Um, we compete with the Hunts and Parsons and Egan's on a lot of projects we do, but again, we also compete with, you know, we compete with the one-man shops and some of the stuff we do too. We don't consider ourselves to be so big that we don't, it's not worth looking at smaller projects. We believe that those people are all our customers, and we need to try to, you know, be of service to any project level. I mean, we don't, we chase stuff. I just put a bid out the other day for a little $4,000-some project. That's fine too. If we can make money and we can keep guys working, it's all good experience for us, and you never know how an account will build into a bigger account just through a little project you do. We are, let's see, I guess the ownership process, you could kind of, if you're familiar with how law firms work with senior and junior partners, that's kind of the way we're set up with our ownership and our peers levels that you can go through. Right now we've got probably about, in the field, just electricians now, because we also started a plumbing company up, or purchased a plumbing company about 3 years ago, which has gone very well, and it's now growing quite a bit. And we just this year, we're kind of behind the curve a bit. We resisted it for a while, but we picked up a technology. We have a technology division now also.
Can you guys do plumbing Revit too?
Revit's done that.
No, not in Revit.
But you know what? We have architectural students who really do almost everything. They don't understand how plumbing goes together, but they have the ability to go to the panels and grab a pipe, but they have no idea how to size the pipe. You know, and the same thing for electrical. They grab a panel, but they have no idea how to size the panel or how many lights you can put in the panel. Or they grab a light and circuit them. So they do the Revit part.
We've got right now in the field about 175 electricians working. We do a lot of work in and out of state. In the last 3 years, due to our job market, we found it profitable and necessary to move and do a lot more out-of-state work. We literally work everywhere from New Jersey to California in the last 3 years. I would say if you went back 3 years and previous, it was very unusual for us to take anything outside of anything. If it bordered Minnesota, okay, but beyond that, we just didn't need to. That was probably not a good thing, but it was, sometimes you don't stretch yourself if you don't need to stretch yourself. We did, and it's turned out to be very good. We will never again be just a centralized location. We're going to keep looking outside our boundaries because there's very good work, good experiences. We have in the shop, we've got about 15 office support people. We've got 10 project managers. We've got 2 full-time estimators and a gentleman who's kind of between the estimating and assistant project managing. We've got a few secretaries in there, and I'm just trying to think. Again, like I mentioned, we've got our plumbing group now. That's actually a couple of guys in the shop, and our low voltage division, that's 1. Building out some more offices just because we seem to be growing quite a bit. We seem to be staying this last winter was a really good winter. We stayed really busy. I know a lot of folks weren't that fortunate. We were a very fortunate company. We've been blessed with a lot of work, and I believe that if you want to call it luck, I do believe luck is a combination of hard work and timing. And we've been lucky. But our guys bust their tails, and you can talk to anybody in our company. I think people believe that they're recognized and rewarded for performance. At Muska, really the only limits on your potential are the ones you put on yourself. The last president of the company, previous to the current, that retired out, started in the field as an electrician. You know, came out of Dunwood, and he worked in the field very briefly, then decided that really wasn't where he belonged, and he went into the office, started doing estimating project management, and ended up president of the company. So we're not bound up we're not bound up by some of the traditions other people follow. We really look for potential. We, you know, pay a competitive wage, and like I mentioned, we do have the bonus 401k and ESOP opportunities. Just trying to think. That's kind of Muska. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with Muska or not. You see a fair amount of us around because of the vans. We are much more of a service-oriented company than some other big companies are. So you'll see a lot of our vans moving around. We try to make them obvious out there. We do, oh, I should mention, we do anything from residential, which we pulled out of for a while, but we kept getting so many calls from people, we decided that we really need to be providing this service because we're turning away too much work. So right now, I think we keep 3 or 4 or 5 electricians busy full-time just doing residential work that literally comes to us. So right now we do anything. We do residential, commercial, retail, institutional, industrial. We got a couple guys that do a lot of industrial work. Pretty much you name it. We've done wind farms. We've done some solar work. Not big into the solar, but we'd like to expand out into that. Probably, like I said, we do anything from a couple $1,000 job. I think probably our biggest job we've done has been in the 8 million range. I guess that's kind of a little bit about Muska. And like I said, we're not, our intent, this is the first time we've kind of come in here and done this, spoke to this group. We're looking to bring somebody in at this point in time for, not necessarily for right now, but for future. We're thinking we're going to need to have somebody down the road here in a little bit. We want to be a little bit ahead of the curve, give somebody an opportunity to come in. And again, really looking for somebody that I'm going to call it self-motivated, and that's interested in the industry, because it's going to work way to your advantage in our structure. So if you like a lot of direction, we're probably not a good company for that. We'll be happy to give direction and answer questions, but we're not going to hover over anybody. We probably should do more of that, but ask Ted, that's not how we tend to operate. And it's kind of like one of those companies. It's a very small town feel, like I mentioned. And so if that sounds appealing to somebody, that's who we are.
So, Muska, have you been advertising on the radio in the last few months?
Current Safe. Current Safe?
That is your firm.
That is our safe. That is, are you guys familiar with TEG? It's a certifying, TEG is worldwide the only, and how they place themselves here, I'm not quite sure, but they're the only company that's recognized by a lot of large insurance companies to go in and certify installations, primarily manufacturing, things like that. Insurance companies will call on TEG to go to a big manufacturer, go through their plant and say, yep, everything's good or it's not, and then based on that feedback, the insuring company will or will not insure that manufacturer. So that's what TEG is. Current Safe is basically the residential version of TEG, more or less. And we do these home hazard detection studies using some pretty interesting equipment, pretty cool equipment. Anything from ultrasonic to heat detection to you name it. It just basically maps out the whole house electrically and finds all and any faults. And it's just incredible what they can do with the systems. But that is then, like I say, it's a certification of what the results are on that home. And then any recommendations that come out of that, obviously, for services or anything that needs to be performed to fix any of the problems. And we believe that it won't be too far down the road when regular residential insurance companies will be doing kind of what like industrial institutional insurance companies are doing, where they're recognizing this and providing if a homeowner gets this service performed and complies, it will be of a benefit to them and their insurance and stuff. Because most homes, if you look at insurance results, most homes lost, insurance-wise, total losses, they're from fire. And most fires are from electrical. So that's one of the reasons we got into this a couple of years ago. But if you do hear us, by Michelle Tafoya or whoever is, I'm not sure who is doing it now.
Has that worked out?
You know, it's a really good program. We question whether or not it could support itself financially, but we all believe so strongly in the product that we decided to go after it. It's you know, there's a cost to purchase, to buy into the program. It's an annual cost to use it and be tied into the manufacturer or the owner of the program and stuff. And it's one of those things where I won't say it's real profitable for us, but it's holding its own, and we believe it's an excellent service, and that's why we started it. Now, we do care about our customers, all the way from the residential through the institutional. We pride ourselves on long-term relationships.
Where are your offices located?
Our office, basically, our main office is in Roseville, right off of Fairview and 36, basically, right by the Rosedale Shopping Center. We have an office in Fairville. That's probably right now we've got 2 full-time people down there, basically, and that's kind of our operations center for most of the work we do in the Rochester and south of the Twin Cities area. We've had that office since 2003, 2002. Yeah.
Are you an S Corp or a C Corp?
We are an S.
How do you want to go by emailing you?
Oh, I've got cards. I'm sorry. I brought some cards. If anybody's interested in talking to us, I'll just leave some cards up here with Chad. And again, we just thought it would be good to get if we get somebody that's interested, that's cool. And if we don't, we'll keep pursuing things. But we just wanted to get somebody in. We understand you can't expect somebody to come in and hit the ground running. Even if we're just having this conversation with Chad, I'm sure some of you will feel very qualified to jump in and go for it right now. What you'll find out is that there's a lot you don't know. And I believe fully what Chad had said sooner or earlier was that it's like when you come out of college, for example. You come out of college, you come out of Dunwoody, what that has proven that you've gotten your degree and you've passed all your requirements, what that proves is that you are able to learn well, you're able to perform. That's what that proves. When you get out in the real world, that's when you really start to learn what your trade is going to be, what your craft is going to be. And so we're just looking for somebody with the skills and the desire to learn and perform. So I'll leave those with you, Chad.
Okay, thank you.
And,
Okay, that's good.
any questions, please feel free to call me. Anybody interested in talking to us? No questions or bad questions. And congratulations, you guys. It's a good industry. It's a good living. We like it.
Yeah.
There's days, just like any other job, that are incredibly frustrating, but welcome to the real world. I mean, it's a good thing. Like I said, we've been around 93 years, our company has, and I think we're all pretty happy we're there long term. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.